consultation is public consultation is public consultation is public consultation is a public consultation is a critical part of 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 any initiative. So I want to ask you about that specifically.
Through the chair, I mean, we would agree. A successful shelter program integrating in a community happens when we can have a long conversation before the service opens, so that we can talk with the local residents about how a service can integrate well into a community. It is unfortunate that we did not have the time to undertake a comprehensive approach with respect to the opening of many of these locations. And it's something that we will do with new shelter locations in the future as we move beyond this pandemic.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. So that's it for the questions. Now we'll go to the speakers. If we can put the speakers list on. Deputy Mayor Minawong, you held the item down to speak.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I do want to make a couple of points. The first point I want to make is we made a decision during a pandemic, a crisis, and we have to move quickly. There's no question about that. So we did. And we delegated authority to staff to make decisions on our behalf. That emergency is now over. And we need to take that back. We are accountable for those decisions. We can't delegate it to staff anymore from these new properties. They say, and I was listening carefully to Mr. Tanner's remarks, that we have to tell the community about what's going in. No. First, we have to ask them if they support that decision to have that property there. I was a victim of this in my ward, where I went to staff and I told them they wanted to put one of these, they wanted to take over a hotel. And I told them that there were no supports there wasn't anything around, transit was horrible, there was no place for the people to go. You know what they did? They ignored that and kept on bumping up the offer to try and get this hotel. They didn't care. That's why we have to take this back and take responsibility and accountability to our residents. So no longer can we say it's not our fault, staff made the decision, because we are now moving out of a pandemic. The emergency is over. The second thing is we have to take control over the costs. $250 a night. That's a remarkable number. $90,000 plus. Most of our staff at City Hall on the second floor don't make that type of money. And we're per room, per night. We've got to get those costs down. Thirdly, this cannot be sustainable. We should have had a plan today. We knew this day was coming, but now we need another year to transition out. The costs are unsustainable. There was no plan. And then there's the damages. That's another reason. The damages are going to be in the millions and millions of dollars that we have to fix. We need to get our arms around this. We have to take control. We have a responsibility to our taxpayers, not delegate everything, not push it away and say it's their responsibility. Because you look at these costs. We're responsible for those costs. We can't afford it. We have to do better. The pandemic is over, and we have to change these arrangements because $90,000 per person per night that the city's paying for housing is completely unacceptable to the public. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Councillor Layton to speak.
Yes, thank you very much, Madam Speaker. I have a motion on this item. The clerks could bring it up. City Council direct the General Manager, Shelter Support and Housing Administration to review the number of housing workers available at each shelter hotel to ensure that the level of support available is sufficient for ensuring all clients at each site are assisted and effectively in accessing housing in advance of shelter hotel closures, and then ensure that there are consistent levels of supports available for effective assisting all clients at each site as part of the ongoing effort to rehouse these individuals, and B, that the number of housing workers at each site is dependent on the number of individuals staying in the specific hotels and based on the best practices for the housing workers to be effective at managing and have a manageable caseload. I'd ask for council to look at this in a slightly different way than the previous speaker. What choice do we have? Of course, and we've known for many years, emergency shelters are not a cost-effective way of managing homelessness. Neither are having people sleep on the street and spending nights in hospitals. In fact, it's more expensive. The real solution is supportive housing. It's affordable housing and supportive housing, providing options that give the necessary levels of support to those individuals at the cost of those supports, as well as the depth of affordability that is needed for those individuals. That's what we should be doing. And I wish we were here debating the addition of 3,200 supportive housing units. That would solve this problem. It would solve it from a financial perspective, and it would, more importantly, solve it from a human perspective. These are people, 2,000 of which were living in our shelter system, likely experiencing chronic homelessness, so not just there for the night, but there for weeks, months, and years, and unable to find the affordable or supportive housing that they need. 1,200 of those individuals came directly, or mostly, from encampment sites. And we've debated on this floor time and time again about how do we address encampments and eliminate them. We do it by providing services and shelter. In this case, hotel rooms, because that's all that was available at the time. It's also all that is currently available. If we start shutting down shelter hotels immediately, without having a transition and transitioning these individuals into housing units, we will be right back where we started 2 years ago. That is somewhere none of us want to go. I don't believe anyone in this council wants to go there, certainly no one in SSHA, and I actually don't think there's anyone in our city that thinks we should go after that. I think everyone in our city would agree with us in that we should be investing more in supportive housing. And the city's come to the table in this, opening new supportive housing units and investing in them, using the money we're getting from the federal government. But it's not going to be enough. 1,000 a year, 1,000 units a year is not going to be enough. We have 32,000 right now just in these hotels that we need to help house. Now, we've put some money in. We've set a goal of 1,000 a year. That was prior to COVID, I would know. But what isn't here is the healthcare support dollars that come from the province. There's an election coming up. We've heard if we don't get that money before the election, our strategy to address homelessness in this city and address the shelter crisis that we're facing is going to need to change and be delayed. I can't accept that. And none of you should accept that either. You should demand better from your MPPs, particularly those in government. And we should demand before they break to go and try to get reelected and make more promises that they pay the City of Toronto the money that's necessary to at least address the supportive housing units that we have currently waiting to open. And more importantly, what we're going to do about the thousands of other individuals experiencing chronic homelessness in our city. Shelter hotels are expensive, they're undignified, and it doesn't address the underlying issue, but we need them now. We try to secure the resources to build the supportive housing. Thank you.